This was the side we had all the water damage on. The Prius. The detail guys at Mitsubishi. God, I just opened a letter from Mitsubishi. Come buy a car. You can trade your shit in. Get a payment. No. The guys at Nissan of Bakersfield. Jesse. Man, I appreciate you, brother. Shout out. Anyways, they took all that water damage off the side. If you saw that during the road trip, looking out the window, they also cleaned up these headlights, polished the whole outside, cleaned the entire interior. You hear the locks. I just pushed my... Look at how clean that is. It's freaking gorgeous, man. Now, there's a couple of spots that are lacking, but you know, things aren't always perfect. And that thing is looking gorgeous, but check this out. Check this out. Now, I'm not gonna lie, they didn't do the greatest job. You can see right here where they kind of missed the thing, and this is not up where it needs to be, and this is not straight. So I'm not super proud of that. See this gap here? I'm not super proud of that, but I'm still fairly happy with it. This vehicle will tow about 3,000 pounds, so I'll keep it under 2,500. Just looks fantastic. They did a great job detailing it. Again, Jesse, Fernando, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate that. But that's not the vehicle we came to talk about today. We want to talk about this one. So let's roll the intro and we'll get to that. Alright, so this is Gabe's car. We turned it the wrong way. See, I don't drive it, so I'm not used to it. We bought this, oh man, earlier this year, before the COVID thing hit, for Gabe. And Gabe doesn't have his driver's license yet, because, you know, he doesn't really want to. How many of you know a millennial that just doesn't want to drive? Anyway, push the clutch in here. This isn't a manual. Right? Oh man. So the batteries died because it set so long. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what I saw on YouTube the other day and what this video is really about. I saw where a guy took a Milwaukee battery. It's got blade connectors inside the handle, and it's got the it's got the female grippies. He shoved a couple of screws in, and it said something about jump starting a car with a power tool battery. And I didn't watch it. I did not watch it. I thought, man, I wonder. Well, it wasn't a full week later I went out to use this because I took the Pathfinder in. I took the Pathfinder in to get it all detailed and get that receiver hitch installed. Well, we come out to use this. I was going to borrow Gabe's car since, you know, he doesn't drive it. And that's what I got. Click, 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 click. So I thought about that video that I didn't watch because that's retarded. Well, let's find out how retarded it really is. Let's go check this out. So I'll tell you what I got. I got an 18 volt Milwaukee, or not Milwaukee, because I just said Milwaukee. Got an 18 volt Ryobi. Caught a lot of flack over the years online about these. You got your Milwaukee guys, and nothing else is better. You got your Snap-on guys, nothing else is better. You got your what's the blue one? Makita, you got your Makita, guys. Nothing else is better. Everybody's got their brand, and it's the best brand. And it's just like guns, you know. You got to feel justified in your purchase. I didn't get ripped off. I'm smart. I'm awesome. And I make good choices, right? And they always want to shit on Ryobi. Everybody wants to shit on Ryobi. I'll tell you, my first set of Ryobi power tools I bought in 1999, and I carried the drill on my service truck for almost 20 years. I carried it for 8 years on the truck. That thing lasted forever. Home projects, work projects, all kinds of stuff. I used it all the time. Well, I use my Milwaukee and my not Ryobi. I use my Milwaukee and I use my blah blah whatever professionally, and you can't do that with Ryobi. Well, I did. You know, if you don't abuse your junk, right? Let's go over to the service truck here and I'll show you what I'm looking at. Alright, so been taking the service truck home lately. I got a project I need to get done. I don't know who's running that skill saw, but man, I wish they'd quit it. Aggravating noise. Oh, I forgot how junk these are. These are Pittsburgh. You get these at Harbor Junk, Harbor Freight. I call it Harbor Junk. Let me grab something different here real quick and I'll be right. Oh, you know what? Speaking of professional tools that get used professionally, I didn't even think about that. Let's grab these right out of the tool bag. These are made by Ideal. They are an exact rip-off of Klein. In the red pair that I had that were made by Klein, I left on a job and they got disappeared. But I honestly think, looking at the quality of these and how they've held up, I think these Ideals are made by the same company that makes the Kleins. So that couldn't cut a zip tie. This is welding rod. Right? Good stuff is good stuff, guys. Sometimes it's worth the money. So what I have here is, what is this? 1109? Whatever. This stuff breaks off, right? And the thing is with this, when you run high voltage through it, you ground to the metal you're welding. This metal arcs and it burns into the metal and it melts in a pool. This junk that we're breaking off is called flux. And what it does, it burns and it creates a nitrogen gas pocket right where the arc is happening, and it keeps oxygen from getting into the weld and creating porosity. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. This is one that I busted all the junk off of. And I'm thinking, I could be totally wrong here. I'm thinking that should conduct electricity pretty darn well. This is a Fluke 324 Plus. The one I used before this was an AC amp meter clamp. This one does AC and DC amps, and I need that for the floor scrubbers and stuff. DC voltage, DC amp. I figured out that a lot of those are rated in watts, which means I have to do math for my work. So, 4 amp hours. And you can see that that's fully charged, right? Does it shut off? Who cares? Anyway, let's set this for, you see the two symbols here. AC amps is alternating current, right? And DC is direct current. in the symbology there. So here's DC voltage. Let's see what we've got here. Let's see if you can even see this. Come on, man. I don't need your crap. There you go. Hopefully you can see this. Let's bring you in so that you can see this. Touch this too. And I should be getting... Ooh, I should be getting 18 volts, right? If you don't know, on a DC voltage system, there we go. On a DC voltage system, you're always going to get more than what it says. So like your cars are at 12 volts, they actually charge at like 14 and a half volts. So you should be able to hook this 18 volt battery up to the car and jump start it. That's what that video was saying anyway. So I think we should try it. What do you say? Let's give it a shot. If you don't think so, then you can tune out. As we roll into take 5 here, I'm reminded of John Wayne saying, "We're burning daylight." Okay, here we go. Does it? I think you'd remember that. You just did it 12 times. Alright, the thing that props the hood up is missing. I'm not seeing it here. So what we're going to do is put that. Oops. Let's do it. Hold better. There we go. Just like that. Use a pry bar, right? Okay, so here is the power tool battery. Here is the jumper cables. I want to show you, before we get started, where we're at here. I haven't checked this yet, so this is new to me too. Right there and there. We're at 11.4, 11.5. That's kind of low. So, and you saw before, it's just not starting. So what we're going to do, we're going to take these and we're going to connect them to the ground. Oh, wait a second. Did you see that? That's a problem. That is a problem. We might not need to do this. Okay. This time I'm going to go ahead and okay. So what do we got there? Oops. I was worried about that. Nothing. Well, I saw it jumped a little.
That'll work. No, they're touching. They're touching.
Well, you got to make sure that they're touching good enough to do a full power transfer from that battery to car battery.
Yui. That's...
Hey, they're touching. That's all that matters.
They're touching.
Now, my question is are they going to be able to handle the current going through? Because that's what, 12 gauge?
You only need 2 for a second.
Just enough to start it.
Oh, you know what?
You want to check that voltage real quick?
Oh, you know what? I should have gave myself more room.
You might want to slip it in half, so that way you don't have to worry about
Touching them.
yeah, better clip them and then redo it.
The black one is the positive.
Yes. Well, you got something going there.
Shall we start it?
Shall we?
Attempt.
Shall we indeed? Oh, it's getting hot.
Yeah, because of how small that wire is.
Hurry up, Gib.
Well, you're getting 15. You got it up to 16. I think it needs to sit there for a moment and let it actually transfer through.
Yeah, right. Hang on, son. We're almost there.
So if you just want to take a piece of tape and tape it down on there so it can't go nowhere.
No, you can't hold it because it's like.
Because it gets hot because of the amount of amperage you're trying to pull through that little wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and do it there. Just let it sit there for a minute.
Actually, you can wrench right here. Here. Get a good connection.
That's actually reading right now. She's holding steady at 15.8. 15.8. Give her a moment.
So the tool battery is charging the car battery. And these wires aren't really rated for that, but we're kind of doing it anyway. Again, this is what can you get away with in a bad spot, right?
So, you ready?
Yeah, give it a shot. Why not? Ta-da! Alright, before I pick up and we go wrap it up, one more thing. If your battery died, it died for a reason. And like I said on this one, the car sat for a long time. But if you've been driving your car, maybe your charging system isn't working. So let's check that too. We're still on DC volts, okay? Nope. So there you go. The car's running at 14.3 volts. Just like I told you, it's a 12 volt system, but that doesn't mean that it runs at 12 volts. They charge at 14.5-ish, give or take a half. So, all right, now we can go wrap it up. All right. What's that? No, unless you want to be in a video. Shut up! So, handy to have for all kinds of reasons. The handle's missing on this one. I got another one in here that the handle isn't missing on. It's about that long. This one's that long. I don't even remember where I picked this up, but it was all rusted. I think it was on one of the trailers that came into the shop. Another thing that's good to have in the back of your car, a length of wire. You can go to a hardware store and you can get alligator clips that you can crimp onto that wire and make your own jumper leads. Another good thing is if you've got emergency tools or supplies like jumper cables, you probably want to test them before you just haul them around thinking they're good, because something's wrong with those. I will say this, I have used those cables to use my truck alternator battery to charge a small engine on a trailer to get a pressure washer with. That's a thing. So the last time I pulled those out, they were working. When you are putting together a go bag or a get home bag, you want to get all of this stuff that you think you're going to need for that job first. And you want to buy a bag that will fit that stuff, because if you buy the bag first, you will sit there and fill the bag up. Now, I said that a bunch of years ago because I figured it out the hard way. Lately, I've heard places like James Yeager at Tactical Response saying that stuff, and they're right. They're absolutely right. Just because you know a thing. I saw this bag. This is tools. This is the stuff that I grab this and go to a job, you know. So the thing is I got this bag and then I filled it up, and it's like 35 pounds, 40 pounds. It's too heavy for a tool bag. Too heavy to be carrying it all the time. But it's what I got, so it's what I've been using. And I still like it better than the tool belt that I made into a kind of a purse, a slung purse thing. It's got a lot of cool little features like these. Where's my electrical tape? That's the question. Be right back. Well, I did something real slick with it. It's probably in the engine compartment of Gabe's car. Oh. Tell you what else I like. Cool tools. This thing here is a flashlight that is rechargeable, right? It's got a neodymium magnet here and here. It's got a clip so it goes in your pocket, and as if that wasn't enough, it's got a little hook built into the clip. I love it. There we go. So, alright. Like I said, saw that video, didn't watch it, didn't want to know. You and I found out together right now that I don't own a set of jumper cables that's worth a flip. You and I also learned together that you can jump start your car with your power tool batteries. And in case I edited that out, both of these survived. This is the one we used for that. I can tell because it's got all the little chew up marks, and this is how much of this battery it took to do that. You saw at the beginning of the video it had all 4 bars, so très chic, magnifique. Most awesome. Most excellent, dude. So, can an 18 volt battery charge a 12 volt automobile system? Yes, it can. And here's the reason why. Voltage is a measure of potential. How much voltage you have is how much work can be done. Now, amps and watts are two different measurements for how much work is being done. Watts can be used more for overall power. Amps is a current flow reading. So, current flow reading. A current flow reading. That's funny. It's the flow of voltage through the thing currently, but also that's called current. I liken electricity to water. That's how I keep it straight in my head. Volts is your pressure. And amps is your flow. And that's kind of backwards to believe it or not, but it works if you look at it that way while you're working on stuff. So, anyway, another thing you can do on this is run a black and a white or a red and a black lead, positive, negative DC, right? It should be red and black, but like we're just using a 110 volt cord. You can run a black and a white from this one and a black and a white from the other one, and then at the end hook them together and put those on that battery, and what you have is still 18 or 20 volts, right? Or this was actually putting 15 volts to the car battery, but now instead of 4 amp hours you'll have 8 amp hours. So if you take and you run your lead that you're using to this side and then run this to the positive, this is the positive, this is the negative. You run your negative to this negative, you run this positive to the negative on the other battery, and then you run that positive back to the thing that you're doing. Now what you've done is you've run them in series. They're not parallel or next to each other. They're in series, in line. So the voltage is going through both of them. Now instead of 20 volts, you'll have 40 volts. You don't want to do that and try to jump start your car. That's too much, you might hurt it. So anyway, there's 100 other videos showing this, I'm sure. They're probably better. But if you're watching the channel, there you go. You can use a power tool battery to jump start a car. One last thing before we go. Let's go back over to the car. It's been 15 minutes. Gabe and I, when we stopped at this last time, Gabe and I drove the car. We just threw the tools on the lawn. We drove the car around the block a couple times. Gabe took the key with him. I'm gonna grab the key and I will catch up with you here at the car, and let's see if it starts again. All right, so here we go. Boop. Got the key back from Gabe. There's his car. Let's go try this out. Miss Kitty, what are you doing? Like I say, it's been sitting for about 15 minutes. Oh! I'm gonna push the clutch in. No, that's the brake. Push the clutch in. Oh, it's so dark. Right? So there you go. Alright guys, I think that might help the motorcycle guys a little bit. In case you didn't know, I'm sure you did. Cool, huh? 190,000 miles. But it's a Honda. But you can hear that transmission just about done. That's what that noise is. Alright guys, wherever you're at, whatever's going on in your life, I hope it's going well. A little bit of useful information maybe. We both learned something today. Have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next one.